Oh, yes. Welcome and welcome back to You Bleeping Nerds, UBN, the podcast where we give you episode breakdowns and news about, nerdy things, dorky things. I am your host, captain of the ship, the skipper. It's your boy A. How y'all been, man? How y'all doing? Y'all good? Y'all eating? Y'all pockets are straight? Y'all need some money? Me, I'm good. I'm good as always. I'm about to bring you this Dan to Dan season 2 episode breakdown. That's what I'm about to do. But before we get into all that, like and subscribe to all the things. Subscribe to us on X, Bleeping Nerd on X. Subscribe to the Reddit if you're on the Reddit. We're going to get some more socials later. But, subscribe to the YouTube. You Bleeping Nerds. UBN. Big U. Big B. Big N. So good to be here. Here to talk about Dan to Dan and bring y'all some news. Can't wait for that. Couple of things in the industry. All by Anime Corner. Right? Anime Corner doing some good work out here on the industry of anime. But before I talk about that, I just want to talk about the state of right now of animated storytelling. It's just, I want to call it a golden age, but I just feel like, man, it's just at a level where I can't see it stopping. Animated storytelling, anime and the like, comic books, shout out to, all the stuff they're doing over there at, Sony as well. Things like Into the Spider-Verse, Demon Slayer just made a bunch of money. 500 billion. That'd be crazy. No, 500 million in a week? 500 million in a week. More anime are gonna follow too. You got Chainsaw Man, Rize Arc on the way. It's gonna be great. Jujutsu Kaisen, Execution's on the way. It's just as big as ever. Animated storytelling is as big as ever. And, this show we're going to cover today is one of the biggest examples of it right now. I love Dan to Dan. Dan to Dan is great. My favorite, I keep saying this about every show I'm covering because everything is so good, right? I feel so spoiled lately, right? Spoiled should be the word of the day. I feel so spoiled by what I get, right? The amount of just quality stuff in the animated world. Here, Japan and just in America, everywhere, China. Shout out to Be Hero X. Just watched episode 24 of that X. My goodness. to Be Hero X is sensational in itself. Different kind of storytelling. Very creative, all beautiful different types of animation. Very, varied, lots of varieties of animation in that too. It's just a great time to be an anime fan, be an animated storytelling fan. And, we're going to bring you some stuff about that. So, our first segment here, Bleeping Nerd News. That's right. Bleeping Nerd News. That's right. That's how we're going to bring that in now. Bleeping Nerd News. Boom. All right. Item number 1. Pretty relevant. Dan to Dan Season 3 confirmed. Shocking 0 people. Shocking 0 people. Like I said, hottest thing smoking right now. This episode, again, just napalm flames. Absolute napalm flames. Every episode, I feel like, from season 2 has just been an absolute, 100-mile-an-hour fastball. It's been fantastic. They don't miss. Dan to Dan doesn't miss. Shout out Saru. You know what I'm saying? Shout out the studios who's put it together. Dan to Dan Season 3 is reported by my boy Chike. Chike, if you ever listen to this, just know it's just because I don't want to pronounce your last name because I'm scared of it. That's all. I don't want to be too familiar And honestly, I'm not sure I pronounce your first name right all the time either, but I'm more confident in that. Sorry, Chike. Thank you, Anime Corner. This was reported on the 18th. They basically dropped this right after this season finale that we're about to cover. Because why not? MFing banger. So, yeah. So shout out to Dan to Dan. You know, over 10 million, copies in circulation of the manga. You know what I'm saying? So it's making money, right? It's making money in print, making money in studio. Dan to Dan, highly successful anime, just highly entertaining. Just can't wait to dive into this episode. But yeah, congratulations, Dan to Dan. Item number 2 coming in, and this is a little more serious. This is also reported by Chike. Shout out to him, best journalist in the game. Best, he's the best to me. Animated comic book webtoon reporter, in the game to me. He just gets the best stuff. He gets the best people. I think he talks to the best people. He's the best guy. I'd love to have him on. Shout out to you, Chike. Shout out to you guys, Anime Quarter. But reported on the 17th, Sony uses machine learning in 4 anime to help automate process of lip syncing. This to me is a pretty big deal. Lip syncing, I think, is something we don't think about. I don't think about as a more casual fan. That is probably a pretty time intensive process for the teams. Obviously, just I couldn't even hope to tell you. I'd love to have someone on, help make us smarter about this topic. But like, how do you lip sync something to audio? How do you lip sync animation to the screen? Right? That's to the voices. That's something that's interesting. And apparently, Sony is using AI to kind of make it faster. Kind of a shortcut for the creative teams. And I can see how on some level this can be a positive thing, right? We all understand that, particularly for anime studios, that these creators, these artists, these animators the work conditions are pretty rough. Those people are working long hours. Some of them really aren't making that much money either, right? A lot of apprentices and interns working some long hours to not make a lot of money, in a pretty volatile business. It's less volatile now with the rise of the popularity of anime. And, just the infusion of more money, particularly from the West, Netflix, Crunchyroll, things like that. Definitely just the global rise in anime in general. In a lot of countries outside of Japan. Obviously it's created more stability, but it's still very, very difficult. Like when you read some of these hours some of these people are working, when you see their schedules, you really see those people are really working their bodies to the bone. And so if this speeds up the process, you can see how that's a good thing. My opinions personally, and this is someone, obviously I'm not an expert in the industry or anything like that, but I am a fan, and I'm a concerned human. I'm a little concerned about the AI creep into all aspects of things, particularly creative things. This is one thing I think the writer strike was about, where studios, these are businesses, right? These are corporations, more importantly. And corporations are all about maximizing profit and raising stock price. That's what they're about. That's what they're legally obligated to do. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a little concerned about some of these corporations ruthlessly pursuing endeavors to create AI that seem like the inevitable end to me is that they're going to hollow out a lot of these rooms, and they're going to try to mass eliminate jobs from industries. I see this movement towards making humans less important. Instead of working with each other more, we're trying to work around each other. And I think AI is a tool for that, particularly for these companies where it's all about money. And if they don't have to pay so many people, if they don't have such payroll staffs, they will do that. They will do that ruthlessly, and they don't care, right? If they could create anime without another human involved and cut every single person, they will do that. And I'm concerned that that is the inevitable logical end of this. But maybe I'm just a doomsayer, Aaron, take your tinfoil hat on. Don't be such a doomsayer, I guess. But that's just my opinion. So yeah, shout out to Chike on that one. Great article here. It's he talks about the different types of machine learning inside of it, and how the type that Sony's using is like a subset of AI. It's all really interesting. Go read the article at Anime Corner. Go read all Chike's articles. Last one, third Chike Joy. I promise. Look, I promise. The only reason why I do this is because I just can't even get you on the podcast. Plus, you got good news, man. You got all the good news. You got all the good news. But yeah, go to Anime Corner and listen. Go to Anime Corner. Go to Anime Corner. Okay, if you want to know, go to Anime Corner. But yeah. Final piece of news, less doom scrolly than the last one. Hulu announces they're getting 7 anime in October. The 7 anime they are getting are Fire Force Season 3, My Hero Academia season premiere. Oh, excuse me, final season premiere. Excuse me. Spy Family Season 3, Digimon Beat Break Season 1, Gintama Seasons 2 and 3. Vinland Saga, need to watch that. Complete Season 1. And One Punch Man, my stuff, my jam, my love. One Punch Man Season 3 premiere. So, love that. Love that, love that, love that. Easier to access, right? Hulu is, more widely available. Crunchyroll, typically, not as many people have. So, good for anime, right? Good for the industry. More anime. That One Punch season is gonna be dope. So good for them. Yeah, that's there's not too much else there. Just you see, this is what I'm talking about. The infusion of money to where anime is big business. I'd say live sports and animated storytelling. Animated IP is probably the most important things to the streamers. Right, because those are the things that bring the eyes. I think Castlevania is probably going to get us another season. Things like that. So it's good to be an animated IP fan. It's good to be a nerd. It's good to be a nerd. It's good to be a nerd, guys. We're living in a good time, right? It was all a dream. It was all a dream, man. But yeah, that is our news segment. News. Okay, that was our news segment. We're going to get into this episode breakdown. I can't wait. Can't wait. Love Dan to Dan. Love this episode. This is the season finale. Hopping in, episode name, Clash, Space Kaiju versus Giant Robot. And just like Dan to Dan, we jump right in. Bow, we hop in where we left off. With the my Buddha bot, what I'm saying, my Gurren Buddha bot, my Gurren Lagann Buddha bot transforming. Nobody knows how to move the thing. Nobody knows how to do anything with it. It's just chaos, right? It's dead to dead, right? It's just dead. Nobody knows what's happening. Somebody has the bright idea just to press all the buttons, right? And all hell breaks loose. Parts just start flying off and all that. Just nonsense. Okaroon and Gigi just go flying into space. And right away, right? Right away, you see here in Dan to Dan where it's it's why I love it, right? It's just so everything, right? It's just so, it's fast, It's goofy. It's silly. It's kind of cool still, right? You know, you see the transformation sequence of the robot, you know, using the nano skins, you know, as it's assembling from last episode, you know, where we're picking off from. And immediately, you know, things are just flying, you know what I'm saying? The music underneath the scenes are just, the whole episode, we're going to talk about that more, but like the whole episode, like the music underneath the scenes are just so great. Like you're like bopping and dancing the whole time. Just absolutely love it. Kenta figures it out, right? You know, Kenta kind of takes control of the situation, and I just listen. It's hard for me to like Kenta. Because I hate that in my man. I hate that dude. But this episode, I have to admit, I have to surrender on it. Like he got raw. He got raw this episode, you know, and it started right here, right? Getting control of the robot, taking control of the situation, and just the transformation of the robot. Like the Kenta version robot looked sick. It looked absolutely flat out sick, man. It was so cool with the robe and all the ornaments and the places, and like it was animated gorgeously. Like shout out to Saru Science Studios. You guys just absolutely crushed it. Nothing more I can say. Just between the voices and the music underneath it and the pacing of the story, like you guys shout out to the creators of Dan to Dan, but like shout out to the studio. The way you guys brought this episode to life, the season to life, the show to life, just you guys deserve real applause. Like real applause. Shout out to Saru Science. Kenta takes control of the situation. Transform into that sick ass nano skin Buddhabot. Like it was so dope. Starts to fight the kaiju. You know, throws that nice straight left, and I just again praise to Dan to Dan. I love this fight, man. I love this kaiju robot fight from beginning to end. Like the first punch from Kenta is just lands, and it's so beautifully animated, the way the impact ripples through the environment, right? How the kaiju flies back, you know, and then the kaiju counters with a tail, bow, and then he comes back with another punch. It was, you know, my dude Kenta, obviously he's just, you know, it's nanoskin, he's just making shit up. And that was funny through the whole fight. That was funny through the entire fight to me. How he's just making it up off the top of his head. But like, you know, he's a nerd, right? He's a bleeping nerd. He is a bleeping nerd, and he is prepared for this moment his whole life. And I like to think that too. Like, I'm a big fan of this manga, this anime called Air Gear, right? You might have heard of Air Gear. And if you haven't heard of Air Gear is this series where like they have skates, but like the skates have like little engines and like tracks on the wheels, and they basically, it lets you skate up buildings and walls and stuff like that, because you have traction on the walls and stuff like that, and you have little engines, so you just fly up. If you haven't heard of Air Gear, look it up. It is dope. And I always said, if they created air treks, because the skates, they're called air treks, if they ever invented air treks, I said I would literally drop out of life. I would literally drop out of life. I am so absolutely ready to be air trek, because I've prepared for something that is so freaking cool. And the fact that he's in a robot right now, being who he is, like, you know, I kind of feel him on that. So he's winning me over. I hate that they're winning me over. I hate it. I hate that they're winning me over, but they're winning me over. I'd be a liar and a hater if I told you that they weren't winning me over. They're winning me over. But yeah, no, continuing on, you know, the fight is so fun, right? I love the way the kaiju is using his tail. I love the kaiju laser. You know, he's blocking it with his hands, chopped off his hands. He throws the chopped off head. Like I said, he's just making shit up. So he's just like he throws like a rocket punch. Might be a Luffy from One Piece. He makes up this robot rocket punch, and he just throws his hand at him. you know, and shout to Kenta. He's doing damage, right? He's landing blows. He's doing his thing. He's living out his dream, and it's just animated beautifully. And it's funny around it, right? You see Okaru like commenting on it. We're gonna get to him later, but eventually the robot basically just starts beating his ass. I mean, no, excuse me, the kaiju just starts beating his ass. It just starts beating his ass, man, and like he just smacking him around. Like it got kind of comical there, like how one-sided the kaiju fight got. This kaiju is strong as hell, right? It was like in a lot of different ways. Like they ended the season in a great way with this monster, with this scene, this monster at the end, because like this thing is strong, and this thing is cool, and this fight's cool, right? I think this fight has been great, But yeah, moving on in the episode, Kenta's getting his ass beat. You know what I'm saying? He's like my boy Ichigo from Bleach when he fought Grimjaw. He got beat into flashbacks. You know what I'm saying? Like that happens in anime sometimes, where a character gets his ass beat so bad he just kind of up flashback, just probably because he's unconscious. So he's getting his ass beaten into a flashback, and again, shout out to the studio, shout out to the show. The music underneath the flashback, right? How they do such a great job of drawing out your feeling and setting tone in this show. Whatever tone they're trying to set, they do a great job using all the tools they got. So the music underneath this scene, because Dan and Dan's overall still a goofy kind of gaggy show, but the music underneath this scene really made you feel for Kentaro. Made you really feel for him. Made you really see who he is and like his passion. Like he don't just love robots. Like no, he is giant robots, right? His lifestyle is giant robots. Like he walks around like Lelouch from Code Geass. Like he walks around and do the Lelouch poses. Like he is giant robots. And one reason I love it, because I know people like him in real life, and that passion is real for that brand of anime, that genre of anime, their love for giant mech anime, and its diversity and all the toys and figures and stuff like that. I feel the same. I know people also feel that way about kaiju and Godzilla. So I always love your passion. Game recognized game. And he's in it for the love of the game, even though he's getting his ass whooped by the kaiju. But moving on, oh yeah, still getting his ass whooped by the kaiju. He goes down. Kaiju's seems like it's about to finish him off, and you see Momo's psychic power hand, come out of the robot. And they're all seasick inside. I mean, they're all motion sick inside because my dude's been going ham on the kaiju. But we have a realization that the robot can use their powers, right? And they get up and you see the robot transform. Well, they do it in the Dan to Danis way possible, which is they argue about it. Like, hey, like, oh my God, you can use our powers. He's like, yeah, also, fuck you. Stop moving like that. Like, we're all gonna die. Like they're fighting about it. Right? And then they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe this happened. And by the way, it is amazing. Oh my God, it was so cool that robot can use their powers. But they keep fighting. Like, actually, why are you even moving the robot? Like, I'm in charge. Ira's just got to come in and be like, who even is this dude? Right. Oh, man. Like, again, it's just the most Dan to Danis way possible. And then, super cool, man. Like, you see Momo attach the robot parts using her psychic powers. You see Ira's hair, whip weapon pop out of her hair, and like the cursed psychic power robot was so beautiful. It was so sick. Like, I don't like figures, but like that thing looks so cool. And then obviously, right after that, the moment of the episode when Momo takes the kaiju to the heavens, to the skies. And like listen, I'm not in love with Momo. I wouldn't do that to Okaru's girl, you know what I'm saying? But like, man, she's my type of girl. She's my type of girl. She takes this kaiju, this sick ass fucking new cursed psychic powered robot. I can't emphasize how fucking sick ass fucking cool this thing looks to me. Maybe not to everybody else, but to me, how sick that thing looked. And I thought Kentaro's Buddhabot, his slimmed down actual Buddhabot was pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was cool. You know what I'm saying? It had the Kamina glasses on from girl, like it was dope. But this, when Momo's attached the powers, like, cause like, I mean, you guys can hear it. You guys can hear like the 9-year-old like Power Rangers fan of me. Like, I love like the Megazord Voltron in this of it. I love that, and like the way her connective powers connected to the Buddha, and then the hair came out. It was so freaking cool. So bleeping cool, man. It was dope. So dope. And she uses those powers. She scratches out her psychic power hand through the robot, and it grabs the kaiju. And the way she takes it up to the sky, and this also, I gotta quote it. It's like, you don't try to punch and kick a kaiju. You gotta hit it with a power bomb. And she just absolutely like Devon Dudley, like, from the heavens thy smite thee, like, just absolute power. Boom! Smash crater into the ground. Game over. Dude, it's like SmackDown versus Raw. When you land a knockout in your special, like, you didn't even have to pin him. Just ding, ding, ding. Fight over. Power bomb from the skies. And just that moment right there was just, it doesn't get better than that, folks. Come on, what are we doing here? Why are we here? Why are we here if it's not for moments like that? I mean, you had everything. You had obviously funny banter, like the way it all kind of came together at first with them fighting was so funny. You got awesome action. You got just cool powers. You got just explosions. You got kaijus getting power bombed. It was fantastic, man. Fantastic. It was just on drugs. It was drugs on drugs. It was fantastic, and boom, just like that, right? The negative space zone disappears, the kaiju shrinks, and all of a sudden, we're back in the real world. People around, and they're still just a giant robot. Everybody can see them. And just like that, in a snap, fight's over, music stops, and everybody's staring quietly because a giant robot just came out of nowhere. And then they all panic, and it's like, yeah, that's Dan to Dan, right? That's Dan to Dan. We just had this moment, our hearts pounding, the adrenaline's rushing, we're going, that was sick. Oh man, that was cool. And then right in the middle of it all, boom. The entire situation's changed. Obviously, it takes the crew by surprise. They got to figure out a way out of there. They transform the robot. They remember that it's nano skin, so they transfer the robot into something that can move and fly away, and it turned into a flying saucer with like a hand dangling out. I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was pretty hilarious. And then they fly off. The house flies off and reassembles at home with like Buddha bot parts everywhere. Just funny looking. It was just really funny, really cool too. The way it's animated. You see the cobblestones reassembling. It's cool, goofy. Very Dan to Dan-esque like. This show, it knows what it is, right? It's always goofy. It's always cool. It's exciting. It's unpredictable. You don't know what it is. Like, it's happening half the time. It's a great time. It's a great time. And that's basically the end of the fight with the kaiju. As quickly as it started, it ended. And we cut to Okarun. He's gotta get Gigi. They've been left at the fight. You see from Okarun's perspective, he sees, first off, he saw the power bomb, which was amazing. But then, he also sees the negative empty space that the aliens use dissipate. All the people popped up. Everybody's looking like, oh my God, it's an alien, right? Everyone's taking pictures. It's a UMA, UFOs, UMH. It's chaos. And Okarun's got to collect Gigi. Can't leave Evil Eye. Can't leave Evil Eye just walking around, right? So, he finds Gigi being a baby. Don't want to come down. Because remember, Evil Eye is literally just a child. I love every moment of the day. They do a great job of just showing that he's literally just a child, right? In his personality, he's a murderous, evil child. But he's still very much a child. It's always funny to be when you'd see him, he's like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, it's kind of cute, even though he is murderous. But yeah, baits him with a hot bun. That would get me too, right? Just wave some fried food in front of me and I'd jump in front of that. Changes him back into Gigi too, so that's good. They gotta retrieve the kaiju. Can't just leave that there, right? So they pick it up and carry it home. Being chased by people all the way, because why wouldn't they, right? Like, run a long ass way carrying this kaiju. Eventually, they make it home. Everyone else in the house is puking from the motion sickness because they just fought a kaiju and a robot. And they're not really trained for this. Kintaro was having a mental breakdown inside before they got there because he just literally just lived his deepest sexual fantasy. Literally. He definitely did. But again, I hate that they won me over with Kintaro because he comes out with the moves, with the pose. Acting like a dick. Gigi's digging it, right? Gigi's not a hater. He thinks he's cool. Like, I think one thing I love about him is that, like, he's 100% himself. Like, he's 10 toes in all of the way he acts. And, like, I think that's what won me over about him, even though don't wipe your fucking snot and sweat on me. I don't give a fuck how. Don't wipe your fucking snot and sweat on me. Don't do that. Don't do that. But, yeah. He comes out, basically lets everybody know, like, hey, look, I'm your guy going forward. I'm going to join the crew. Okaru's like, hey, man, I'm kind of cool on that. Oh, man, but, they got to investigate the kaiju. They got to look inside, find Okaru's golden ball. That's what they got to find. They got to find Okaru's golden ball. Okaru volunteers to do it. It is his balls, right? Fair. Look inside. Kaiju has a zipper. They unzip the kaiju, which, makes sense. It looks like a Barney suit because it is a suit. Unzips the kaiju. And it's a Ray from Evangelion. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. It's not Ray from Evangelion. My bad, y'all. Right, sorry. Girl in there. Is that Eureka from Eureka? No, sorry. Yeah, girl inside the kaiju in a suit, right? The kaiju seems to be some kind of suit. We cut to Momo coming out the house, and seeing Okarun kissing the girl. The girl popped up, laid one right on his lips. My girl Momo, she's got the nanoskin controller in her hand, and she squeezes it, and the whole house explodes. So I imagine that's how she felt in her heart. She saw her Okaru kissing an alien kaiju suit pilot, and then the house explodes. Boom, end of episode. See you next season, guys. Yeah, cause what the fuck, right? That's how they're gonna leave us, right? That's how they do us. That's how they're gonna leave us. Some alien, kaiju suit pilot, with little Piccolo antenna, Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z antenna. You know what I'm saying? She looks like my girl Eureka from Eureka 7. Lays one right on Okarun's lips, right in front of Momo. Poor Momo. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we'll see what the hell that's all about, right? We're probably gonna learn more about the aliens, right? Which hopefully we're gonna see who she is, where she's from, what she's about. What a thing to leave us on, right? Leave us with so many damn questions after giving us so much good leading up to that. But that's the end of the episode. Overall, it doesn't get better than that, folks. Doesn't get better than that, man. That's art. That's cinema. That's work right there. They did work in this show. Looking at the overall, the kaiju fight was awesome, right? Every aspect of it was awesome. From the point when it was invisible on the ground running around, from the point when it first transforms, to using the invisibility when it was giant, and the lasers and all the abilities, when they figured out the house had nanoskin, all of it, right? Like just the entire fight, transformation of it, again, at the end, the fucking power bomb, like the whole fight was just absolutely sensational. I loved this episode. I loved overall the season finale. This was the season finale. I love this season. This is one of the best seasons of anime I've been watching and reading anime and manga since I was, basically 9 years old with Dragon Ball Z. You know what I'm saying? Like 7, basically. And, obviously this show it's not for everyone. But honest to God, I just kind of feel like it's one of the highest quality shows I've ever watched, right? From the highest of highs with the fight scenes, the explosions, the environments, the way they're animated, the way they're drawn, the designs, and of the powers and all that stuff, to like the more intimate stuff, the relationships between the characters, right? To even more granular, just the way shout out to the voice acting teams. Shout out to the voice acting teams, Momo's voice actor, Ira's voice actor, all the voice actors. You guys have done such a great job of bringing these characters to life. Shout out to the writing, of these characters, of the author of Dandadan, the way they interact with each other, the relationships and how they bounce off of one another as a team, as an ensemble, the way they balance each other. Just shout out to this entire production crew. Shout out to Science Saru. You guys did such a great job. Just everything between, like you say, like bringing the voices, the music underneath everything is just so great. I'm dancing the whole time. This might be the best anime soundtrack I've ever heard. I'm gonna call it. This might be the best anime soundtrack I've ever heard. Great job, guys. Really, just great job, guys. Great job overall. A++ season of anime. Can't wait. Like we talked about at the top of the show. Season 3 was announced. So can't wait to see you guys next season. Just couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier. And that is gonna do it for our episode breakdown. That is the season finale of Dan to Dan, episode 24, Clash, Space Kaiju versus the giant robot. That's the end of Dan to Dan season 2, guys. That's it. I can't wait until season 3. I can't wait until this comes out. Probably in a few months and stuff like that. Like it's just gonna be fantastic. And thank you guys for coming into this episode review. Like I said, you've been listening to You Bleeping Nerds, the podcast where we bring you episode breakdowns and news about anime and animated storytelling industry. You know what I mean? Tune in with us Monday as we're going to bring you Kaiju number 8. Tune in with us again Friday. Dan to Dan. We're going to cover something else. We're going to see. I think we're going to catch us up on the summer Hikaru died next Friday. I also want to bring you a review of To Be Hero X. That is wrapping up soon, so I'm going to catch up on that. Now that Dan to Dan's wrapped up, I'm going to have time to do that. So tune in with us. Stay with us every Monday and Friday where we bring you, like I said, anime news, anime episode breakdowns, discussion. Subscribe to our socials. Subscribe to the podcast. On Spotify, Google, and all that. Subscribe. Go to the YouTube and subscribe to You Bleeping Nerds. Big U, big B, big N. Go to, find the Reddit. Find us on X at Bleeping Nerd. That's on X. Subscribe to the the Reddit, You Bleeping Nerds. And I'll see you guys Monday for our Kaiju number 8 breakdown. Thank you for being with us. I am your host, your boy A, and I will see all y'all next time. Thanks for being with us. Peace.